drive sales. And it's progressed to the point now where the customer is asking for a quote. So let's go and generate a quote. We'll add a new quote. We've started a quote here. The name is Wrestle by the Sea. We need to add some products. So let's add some products in. Now this customer is looking to buy the Event as a Service product, and so we'll add that into our quote. Now to support that, we also need an Ethernet E-line product to connect up from DLPT back to the arena, which is in a remote area in the Philippines. And we're going to set up a 5G slice that's dedicated to support this particular event. So let's save that quote. So we've got a basic quote there, and at this point the salesperson really needs the back office team to do some technical configuration of those products and things like that. So let's activate this quote, and you can see it's populated some default pricing in there already. So we can see that default pricing there. Let's go over to our CSG quote and order management, and we'll just do a refresh of that page. And so we can see our Wrestle by the Sea quote. It's in a pending internal review state. So let's open that up. And we've got our 3 products there. Now I can link them from here. So the Event as a Service has an aggregation relationship to our 5G slice and our Ethernet line. So let's add that in. I'll establish that linkage. So that's the one here with no details. So I'll connect that up, and we'll connect up the Ethernet line. So there it is, that one. So now we can go in and start configuring our 3 products. So let's open that up. And I need to select a site for this event. So if we have a look at the event, this particular customer has a number of sites already allocated, particularly this Cagraray Amphitheatre, which is a remote destination. If we zoom out, we can see it's in the Philippines, a long way from anywhere. So in order to support this remote destination, we need to have some mobile 5G towers set up around the Eco Energy Park at the amphitheatre, and obviously we need a fibre backbone to support that local 5G network. Now let's add this site, and we've got some other configurations that we want to set up here as well. So we want to set, it's a smaller site, so it can only cater for 5,000 audience. We'll set the date for the event, and it's a 1-day event. We might add some event ads, so local ads, for example, and we might want to add an augmented reality for, given this is a wrestling match, we can select the class of augmented reality service. Now there is an Edge application in order to support that AR service. So let's just fix up the number of users there, and we can put in some Camara services here to handle the quality of service. We might want to also add games. So let's select our Pro Wrestling again, and we want silver level games. And you'll notice that we've dynamically calculating out that price as we go. Let's have a look at the costs. So we can see the costs in order to sell this particular Event as a Service, and we can see that we've got a reasonable margin, just under 38%. So let's save and close this. Now we've configured our Event as a Service. We need to configure the 2 underlying products, the 5G slice and the Ethernet line. So let's have a look at this. We need to, for our Ethernet line, it's a E-line type product, point-to-point product. So we need to set up our 2 ends. So obviously one end is the amphitheatre. So we'll select that, add that to our site. And the Z end is the DLPT data center in Manila. So I'll just zoom out to show you that. So it's in Manila. Save that. And again, we've got some configurations that we need to set up here. So the E-line, we might want a faster connection than 100 megabits. So let's say 2 gigabyte connection. Yeah, let's go with a 2 gigabit. the base service. So we've got all of the various technical characteristics that we need in order to sell this product correctly. And so we can see we've got the 2 gigabit speed there now. Let's save and close that. And finally we need to configure our 5G slice. So let's have a look at that. Obviously we need to define where that's going to be, and so we've got our 2 sites that are associated with this particular sales order. So we want the 5G slice at the amphitheatre end of things, and we can assign a custom slice ID if we need to. We might want well, for that many people, we might want 2000 megabits per second or 2 gigabit connection. We might add some supported devices, and we might have a maximum connected devices of 5000. So we can set the encryption, add blacklist, whitelist, that sort of thing. So we've got our price set up here. If we have a look at the costs, we might actually need to add some custom costs here, and in fact if I do that, then it makes this a loss leading exercise. But we might elect to do that even though it's a loss maker, because if we look at the total deal, we're still making 30% on the total deal, even if that particular one item is making a loss. So we've configured the 3 products, and now we want to let the salesperson know that they can now put this in front of the customer. So we're doing a feasibility check, and if we have a look at the system tab here, we can see that we've actually reached out to Clarity to do a service qualification against a latitude and longitude, and we've got a result back. So it's identified the particular polygon, and we've got a qualified result there as well. So that's good news.
Let's check in Clarity to make sure that the Kagra Bay amphitheatre is in fact inside the polygon.
If we just go back here and I refresh this view, we can see that because it passed the service qualification based on that lat long and being within the identified polygon that DLPT is able to service, it's now in a pending customer approval state, and you'll note that we have a quote that's been generated. Now, as a back office person, I'm unlikely to be sending that quote to the customer. So let's just go back to the front office, the salesperson's interface, and they're using the CRM platform. And if we go to the details tab here, we'll see that same quote is available to them. So let's open that up and have a look at that quote. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. So we've got our event as a service with some key headline type characteristics and the price. We've got our Ethernet line with the A and the Z end, and we've got our 5G slice and the location of that slice and the guaranteed bit rate. Now, this quote is ready for a customer to sign on the dotted line and submit. Now, if we needed to integrate that with an e-signature platform, then we can certainly do that. So let's say as a salesperson, I've now sent that to the customer. We've got our quote here, we've got our updated values and everything. So I can now send that to the customer. The customer comes back to me and says, I'm all good with that. So I can now create an order from this quote. We'll click the create order button, and what that will do is that will close the quote and the opportunity with a status of 1, and we can close that off. As a salesperson, I can still see the ongoing state of this sales order from within my CRM interface as well. And then we'll see that the status, if I just refresh that view, is in a new status. Let's go over to the CSG quote and order management platform. And if we refresh that view now, we can see that it's currently in progress. And we've got 2 of the line items have already completed, and our event as a service is still completing. We'll refresh that view again, and it's still having a look. Why don't we have a look and see what messages are being sent here? We'll refresh that. We can see that we've initially sent a request from Encompass Order Management to Infosys. So that's to set up the 5G slice, and we've got a TMF641 payload here to set up the 5G slice along with the Edge component to support the augmented reality application. We've got and you'll notice here that we've got our camera characteristics have been embedded within the TMF641 payload as well. So let's have a look at the response. So we've got a response back, and if we scroll down the bottom, we can see that it's in an acknowledged state. And if we have a look at the next one, so this next one is from CSG Order Manager to Clarity. So this is ordering the fiber backbone, and you can see all of the various MEF characteristics and so forth that are here that are as a result of that order southbound into the network. And we'll have a look, see if we've got a response. So we've got a response from Clarity back to Encompass Order Manager. We've got the payload there, and again we've got an acknowledged state.
Okay, so let's have a look at the Infosys environment, and we can see that the Stadium Event 5G slice has already been instantiated. You can see it has a status of installed and it's healthy. We can see the various characteristics such as the URL, the number of users and so forth. If we have a look at the Clarity provisioning platform, we can see that the Ethernet line service has been installed and it's assigned and ready to go.
So let's have a refresh and see where we've got to here. And if I have a look at the items, we're still in a in progress state on that particular sales order. Okay. You can see that they're all complete.